Welcome to the Connectable podcast.
The Connectable podcast starts in 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, it's Deb and Deb only. No Josh today. Sadly, not sorry. Just kidding. Josh, wish you were here. But I'm here to give you guys a solo episode by moi. So how's it going? Thanks for joining us today. Or me, us. Look at me. I'm already saying us, me. Thanks for joining me today. Today's topic has to do with evolving, or lack of a better word, changing. Now, before I get into all that though, I do want to take a moment and do some slight advertising for my new podcast that is a kind of spin-off, kind of mini series. I'm not sure quite which word to use out of those two, from Connectable, but it's called Not Here to Judge. And it was just launched earlier last week. I'm trying to think of when Josh is going to release this one that I'm talking about right now. It is March. Let me just tell you this right now. It's March 2nd right now. I launched it on March 1st. So whatever day you're listening to this on, that's when it launched, March 1st. I have an introduction, a short introduction. It's like 8 minutes episode, just kind of talking about what to expect on the show. And then I have my first guest episode up and running and ready to go. I have many more to come, just kind of sitting in my drive. I'm going to try to release them weekly. Now, mind you, I'm not as, what word do I want to use? Responsible as Josh in terms of recording and getting things ready and getting guests. Josh is very good at having like a set schedule, like we're recording on this day so we can release on that day. That is why we are relaxed. Josh needs to calm down because I know he's getting excited because I'm complimenting him a lot right now. But that's why the podcast is able to continue and to have things released every week. Now, me, on the other hand, I do it more gypsy-like, and I kind of record when I can. Sometimes it's 4:00 in the afternoon. Sometimes it's 3:00 on a Saturday. So it just depends on what I feel, when I feel like doing it and what kind of guests I can have. So anyway, I'm way more sporadic. I had to record a bunch ahead of time just in case I got stuck in a rut to where I couldn't record. Anyway, I digress. But the podcast is called Not Here to Judge, and it's available on Spotify, iTunes. Wait, that is it. Just Spotify and iTunes right now. I'm going to try to get it on Stitcher soon. Not quite sure how that works. I'm just learning all the technical stuff that Josh does for this podcast. I am doing for Not Here to Judge. So it's been interesting. I think I'm doing a pretty good job though. So if you have Instagram, go ahead and check it out at Not Here to Judge podcast. And hopefully you like it. It's more woman-based, but of course anyone's welcome to listen. I think it's interesting whether you're a gal or not. But I focus on topics, or I guess my goal for future episodes is to focus on topics like mental health, relationships, dating stories, dating advice, any kind of, honestly, like anything under the sun that girls will get together and talk about. At least me and my girlfriends, everyone's different, right? But I literally will sit down with my friends, and so far I've hit the record button and we just talk. And the episodes range anywhere between 30 minutes to 2 hours. So I'm really sorry about the 2-hour long episodes, but good thing you can hit start and stop whenever you want, right? So go ahead and hop on over and take a look. It's very free flowing, very conversation style, like Connectable is, but we don't have a connection suggestion at the end of Not Here to Judge. It's just story time. Let's go. Grab a glass of wine or a cup of coffee or whatever, and just sit back, relax, and listen. I will do some solo episodes as well. And they are never any type of how-to episodes. Like this is not a how-to episode either. I will never give a how-to episode. I am not qualified to teach a how-to anything unless I can teach you how to do a proper push-up, because then yes, I am qualified to do that. But everything that I will be talking about will be strictly based on my experiences, what I've been through, what I've learned, which is what this episode is about. So anyway, hop on over, not here to judge, and give it a listen, and recommend it, 5-star it or whatever. And hopefully you enjoyed. If you enjoyed the episode with Nicole and Jamie from the Connectable podcast, I can't even tell you what number it was, then you will really like Not Here to Judge. So hop on over. Here are your finger guns, Josh. There you go. All right. So I want to talk about evolving, or for lack of a better word, changing. Now, I use the word evolving because I feel like the word change can have a negative connotation, or I don't know. It's evolving sounds cooler. Let's just say that. I don't know. It sounds better. So I guess more so giving yourself their permission to evolve. I talked about this topic with Crystal Rose on the Self-Love for Breakfast podcast. We sat down and we talked about giving yourself permission to evolve as well. But just very briefly on this episode, I want to talk about this because I don't think Josh and I have ever talked about it. If we have, sorry, Josh. I don't think we have, at least in depth, and definitely not just with me alone. So I have always been a very rigid, like, this is what I do and I'm going to do this forever type of person, right? Like for some reason, I've always had the notion, and this was not taught to me. I think I just made this up or manifested this myself at some point in my early 20s. But I thought, for me personally, I thought you go to school, you get a job, and you do that forever. And that's all you do. That's it. And so I remember one day I said that I said that phrase to my family, and I was talking to them about something, and I can't remember what I said, but I said something like, well, I'm going to be a teacher forever. And someone jumped in and said, why? Like, no, you don't. And it totally baffled me. I don't know why. You guys, when I was in my 20s, I was not open. I'm completely talk about evolving. I'm a different person in terms of how I think about things, right? And that is the purpose of evolving, is how you are thinking about things. At least that's what I think. That's what I believe. But back then in my 20s, I'm in my mid 30s right now, but in my early 20s, that's how I thought. And I couldn't imagine, like, that's all I thought was just you have a job and that's it. And so one of my family members said, why would you just do that forever? You don't have to. And it just it's such a simple concept, and it's a duh moment. This is not groundbreaking news for anybody, but for some reason for me, it just blew my mind because that person just gave me permission to, you don't have to, you could do whatever you want. Now, I'm still a teacher. I love teaching. But I carried that concept with me in the back of my mind, somewhere deep down beneath all the other things that are going on in my mind, which I don't know if we won't unpack all that, but that was always in the back of my mind in terms of going through life from then until now, because I've always had little mini jobs here and there. You know, I have my main teaching job here. Now I'm just talking strictly job wise right now. You could apply this to whatever in your life, I guess. So like, here's my job, my teaching job, but then like around it, I have different things I do, including side jobs, including hobbies, including, obligations or whatever around that. So my 20-something-year-old brain like automatically goes to, okay, that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to do that forever, even all my little side jobs. And then what happens is, of course, for me, I need variety. I've learned that I need, a lot of people some people like to be consistent, and they do like that. They do like doing the same thing every day until the day they die. That's great. For me, I realized that I get burnout. I I get bored, I get frustrated, and then I get resentful. I feel like I just started talking about the stages of grief right there. But anyway, I need variety, I need to switch it up. And I think in my early 20s, I just was always too scared to do that because, and then it stems from, you guys, it stems from caring about what people think about you, right? So remove that, and then you can kind of focus on what you want to do. Now, I need variety. So I was wondering why I was getting so frustrated and annoyed, probably annoying as well, because I probably bitched a lot to my friends about it, but annoyed about all the different side jobs I'm doing, until one day I worked up the courage to remove one. It was difficult for me because I don't like quitting anything. I'm an ex-athlete. I grew up playing sports. You just don't quit. That's just mindset. So once I removed one of my side jobs, that took up a lot of time, not nearly as much pay as it should have, but was more like you do it, because you're passionate. Once I removed that was difficult. But once I realized the things that I was able to fill that with, right? So I made space, I cut that out. And then that was a space for me to start doing other things. Now, it didn't mean that like I filled it with another job automatically or something else that I felt like that I had to do, but it just kind of left that room for me. Like, okay, now I have time to do other things or not, by removing that. So that was kind of like the first step for me in evolving with my job and like being okay with saying no. And that's another thing with evolving for me. Again, I'm going to keep saying for me personally, because everyone's going to be different. But for me, it has to be being okay with saying no and not having to justify it in a million different ways, right? So for me, that was a huge deal. And because of my emotional response to letting go of that side job, that I knew that was like deep rooted and, rooted inside of me to like, no, you do this forever, type of mentality. So then once that happened, then what do you think I started doing? Then over time, not right away, but within the next couple of years, like it took a few years, then I start removing this job. Then I started removing this thing in my life. And I started slowly kind of moving it's like a chess game, of my life, like pieces around, like I don't want to do this, instead I want to do this. I don't want to do this, instead I want to do this. Fast forward to right now, I'm in a completely different spot than I thought I would be. I never thought I would be podcasting ever. I don't even know. I don't think I'd even listened to a podcast or many of them when I first started doing this. Josh and I started doing Character Combine, I think 3 years ago now. We always lose track. We don't ask us. We don't remember. So, I mean, I always thought for the rest of my life, I was just always going to do, teach and do all my original side jobs I had going for me. Now I'm still teaching. I love it. And it's something that right now, I do not want to change that or evolve that. And I like that I have the choice and the freedom to choose that. I love it. I mean, aside from the fact that it's my livelihood, but I really enjoy it. I have some amazing coworkers and I'm just at a really good spot. I love my kids right now. I feel like I've been doing it for long enough to where it's comfortable, to where I'm still learning new teaching strategies while being confident in the classroom. Any teachers out there hopefully know what I'm talking about. But aside from that, I am so much more comfortable moving everything else around my life to fit what I would like to do in this season of my life. Now, that was just a long drawn out way of me giving all of you permission to evolve, and it's okay to say no to things, and it's okay to change. Sometimes people will come up to you and say, you've changed, and I say, thank you, because I don't know about you, but I don't want to stay the same person. I mean, you have your beliefs, you have your core value of who you are. I don't want to change that, but I don't mind changing or evolving over time and adapting to my surroundings, in a good way, adapting to my job. I have to adapt to my job, you guys. I work with teenagers. We have to. We get new generations. We have to. And I just don't mind evolving with the times. Now, and if you don't want to, and that's fine too, but if you've been looking for permission to say no to something or let go of something, then do it. For me, I knew I had to let go of something when the reason why I didn't want to let go of it was for fear of what someone else would think. That's not a good enough excuse. It's fair. Again, backtracking to in my 20s, I'm the biggest people pleaser you might ever meet. Probably not so much anymore, but that's a good thing, right? So it's been a really good evolution process for me, going through my teenage years, through my 20s, up until now. And I'm sure I'm going to continue to evolve. I can see my evolution I can see it already, because even right now in this moment in time in my life, I'm still evolving, and there are things that I'm shifting in my decision making. There are things that I'm shifting in my decision making at work, with my personal life, with my friendships, with my hobbies, with all those things. I'm now starting to think, I don't think I want to do this anymore, because I want to make room for this instead. What is it that I really want to do? What do I want to fill my time with? What is going to give me the most enriched life as possible? Again, that looks different for everybody. I'm single with no kids. So my choices are going to look different than, if you have a family of 2, 3, 4, or 5, and it's just, you have to adapt to what's best for that. Josh will always talk about doing the things you love. And I like how Josh puts it in perspective, because he has 2 little ones. And he would always say that he loves podcasting so much. And if you want to do it, you need to make time for it. So you need to make space for it. However, he doesn't do it at the expense of his family. Now, that's straight from his mouth. Again, I don't have kids. I don't ever give family advice, kid advice, or anything. But I thought that was a good thing that he brought up. I guess, so that's what that looks like for him. So I'm trying to think. I wanted to share a quick story about how I got to Sacramento, because evolving comes when you least expect it as well. So try to stay open. I talked about this briefly on one of my solo episodes on Not Here to Judge, that is not yet released right now, but will be soon, depending on when you're listening to this. I give a background story of me on Not Here to Judge on one of my solo episodes, and part of it talks about how I got to Sacramento. So once upon a time, I used to be married, and my then husband, now ex-husband, we were living in the Bay Area for a brief moment. And when I say brief moment, I literally for like 2 months, because we were moving from the Central Valley. Then we went to the Bay Area because we thought he was going to go to school in San Francisco. And then I started looking for a teaching job. Like, we had a whole plan. We had a system. We were very brilliant together. I have to say that. And so the whole summer I spent looking for a teaching job. So this was going to be my very first job. And I'm very prideful. I'm very much, I take ownership and pride in how hard I work. I'm very independent. Even within my marriage, I was very independent. And so I was very proud that I was looking for a job that I worked so hard to go to school for and to go through student teaching for. I was just excited for it. So I spent all summer looking for a job. And one day I went into an interview in Berkeley, and I felt really good about it. Went home. As soon as I walked through the door, he basically said, "We're moving to Sacramento." And I was like, "What? I just had the best interview. I might get this job. What do you mean moving to Sacramento? The school's about to start. I'm not gonna." I'm just, all these thoughts are floating through my head. Like, if we move to Sacramento, school has already started. And this was back in 2013. So there weren't a ton of teaching jobs. It was, however, X amount of years after the pink slip. So the district started hiring people back. There weren't a ton of teaching jobs being handed out as there are right now in 2022, where we are in a teacher shortage. So in 2013, there was no teacher shortage. They're like, "We're good." I can't tell you how many schools I interviewed for back in 2013 that, like, it was me versus like 50 people at each school. It was crazy. So anyway, he said, "We're moving to Sacramento." And I said, "The hell we are. I'm about to get this job that I worked hard for." So anyway, and then he explained, because he got a better offer to go to school in Sacramento, which is also important. And then I kid you not, right then and there, I got a phone call saying I got the job, the Berkeley job. So I was very mad that I couldn't even celebrate me getting the job that I worked so hard for. So I don't think I talked to him for a few days. I was very angry. And I was also very resentful of coming to Sacramento. I was like not having it at all. Even if I didn't show it, I was feeling it. So we came to Sacramento. It took me a good half of a school year to finally land a solid teaching job, which is where I'm at right now. I've been there ever since. So I've been there for about 8 years now, which I love. And so anyway, I just, and since then, obviously we've split and everything, and, been divorced, but I'm looking back. I love Sacramento. I love this town. I love the friends I've built. I love the community I've created. I love the school I work at. I love so many things about it. And a lot of people could probably say not so many great things about Sacramento, but I love it. And looking back, I'm like, wow, I was so angry and resentful for coming here. And I am my evolution process from coming here, kicking and screaming, to going through a lot of things, it's 8 years worth. So evolution takes time, to this very moment, just sitting in here and recording. It's an evolution process, and I'm very thankful for it. And it's a lot of finally saying no to things. It's a lot of finally saying yes to things. It's a lot of pain. It's a lot of uncomfortableness. And that's what evolution is as well. It's not pretty. It's uncomfortable. It's annoying. It's awful, depending on where you are in life. Right now, I speak out a lot to single people just because I'm single as well, right? I'm not going to go around and give marriage advice to couples. So I'm always on the single, perspective. So for me, my evolution process has taken me all the way through the steps of being okay being alone, and being okay. Hey, you might forever be alone, and being okay with that. Now, is that ideal? No. But it's just one of those things where it's like you just got to lean into it, and you have to sink into it, and you just need to, for me, just building a community and building friendships. And that has taken an evolution process as well. I didn't have that when I was married. And I'm not saying that you can't or shouldn't, or that I should have had that when I was married. That's just how it was for me. It was just me and my then husband. But ever since, we broke up, I've made many friends, and it's just forced me to get out there and be a little more extroverted and meet new people and see all these different personalities. And it's a process, but it all kind of starts with opening your mind a little bit more. Like way back when I had that conversation with my family about, oh, I'm going to do this forever. And someone came in and said, why? No, you don't. So that kind of opened my brain just a little bit of, oh, I have possibilities. Again, I don't know why I thought that. I was not raised like that. No one taught me that. I don't know where that came from. That's just me. Everyone has their own personalities. Trust, no matter where you come from. You just kind of have your own way of thinking. And so for me, that helped kind of open my mind a little bit. So evolution takes time, and it takes for you to just kind of let your guard down a little bit and just open up your mind. Now, again, I didn't mean for this to be a how-to type of episode, but if you wanted to hear about how Deb evolved and how, blah, 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 then there you go. But anyway, this isn't going to be a super long podcast because I always think it's weird talking to yourself while looking at yourself like I am right now. But I do want to give you permission to evolve and to say no to things and to say yes to things, and it's okay to change. And again, your core, like who you are and who you are. I'm not saying that I'm going to, go out and change my belief system. I mean, I could if I wanted to, right? You could do whatever you want, but for me, that's not what I want to do. I definitely want to try new things. Again, I never thought it'd be podcasting, and here we are. And it just took a one step at a time of just trying things and saying yes to things, and making new space for things. So I'm trying to live life in a way where if I'm not enjoying something, or if I'm not passionate about it, or if I'm starting to feel resentful of it, it's got to go. Now, it doesn't mean you have to, be completely loving it every day and, dreaming of it every night, because life is life and you're going to have emotions no matter what. But I think that if something is not serving you the way it should be, then I don't know. I think it's got to go. But that's just me. That's just for me and my own advice. That's what I tell myself these days. And I do give it time. I try not to make quick decisions on getting out of things. And it's also because I don't like quitting things. So it's also like a stall technique on my end. But just give yourself permission to evolve and do different things and try different things. And you do become kind of a different person, and that's okay. I think it's okay to learn something and to change your mindset about something and to go back to that mindset and just relax. You're human. You're not a robot. So, you guys, that's all I got for you today. So anyway, topics like these are the types of topics that I will talk about on Not Here to Judge. It's kind of my jam, just because I talk about what I know. And again, it's never a how to or you should do this and you should do that, but it's just this is what Deb has learned. Listen at your own risk and feel free to judge me. That's okay too. So anyway, hop on over to Not Here to Judge on Instagram, Not Here to Judge podcast. That would be my connection suggestion to end this episode, but I do have to tell a quick story and I'll give you my connection suggestion really quick. So I was, last night, I stopped by one of my Log Off, my local brewery. I was having a meeting for an upcoming trip that I'm going on. And as soon as I got out of my car, I was walking through the parking lot to go to the front door. And there was a pop-up, like a food pop-up, like right in front of Log Off. And usually they're in the back. So I thought that was, it kind of caught my eye. I thought it was in the wrong place. Let's just say that. So I pulled up next to it I like walked around it and I started walking through the front door. Well, this gentleman came out of the front door with like an apron on, and he stopped me and he looked at me and he's like, "You want some barbecue?" And he pointed to the pop-up. And my automatic response is like, and it's my polite way of like not being in the way. I looked at the pop-up and I looked at him and I was like, "Oh no, like, no." Like because in my mind, I'm like, "Oh shoot, he's closing. Maybe he thinks I want some. I don't want to bug him. Like, I don't know." So I just said, no, that's okay. And he stopped and he looked at me and he's like, "You don't want barbecue?" And I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I want barbecue." So he made me follow him back. He's like, "Come here. I'll make you something. Just come here." And so I followed him back to the pop-up and he made me this really good like tri-tip sandwich with barbecue sauce. He just gave it to me. He was just like, "I'm just going to give this to you. Just go eat it, go inside and just tell people about my place." And I said, "I will do that." So he was very nice. That was very sweet of him to make me, and I had not had dinner. So it was very good. So I have to, my connection suggestion is, and it's on my Instagram right now, BBQ Express Yo Self. So it's BBQ Express Yo Self. So the word is BBQ Express Yo Self on Instagram. So I found, he's so cute. He gave me a business card and he said he had Instagram. So I said, "I'll find you." And I looked it up. I found him. I said, "I'll have my podcast follow you." He was like, "A podcast? Is that like a radio station?" It was adorable, very nice. I thought it was very sweet. So that kind of customer service, like, of course, I'm going to make that connection suggestion. So BBQ Express Yo Self. Thank you for that run in. That was just very nice. Those are always my favorite. So types of like interactions, and the food was really good. So thank you. So yeah, that's my connection suggestion. That is my episode. You guys know where to follow us, Connectable. So you can follow us on Instagram at Connectable Podcast, Twitter at Connectable Pod, and then YouTube if you're watching this right now, obviously, and Facebook. Josh, I don't think I screwed that up. You're welcome. And again, pop on over to Instagram and follow the Not Here to Judge podcast. Thank you. And I will see you guys in my living room next time. Bye.
Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.